Welcome into Clippers Countdown as your LA Clippers are in game 4 of this road trip. Make it game 2. I'm still off the Dayquil. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the 32 and 21 Timberwolves, a place they are 1 and 5 in their last 6 games at, with some close, heartbreaking losses. And while it's already been an emotional week with trades and guys who are no longer here, the Clippers were able to get a victory in Sacramento Friday night thanks to their now longest tenured Clipper, Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi gets around Hunter, gets to the rim, scoops in with a right hand. What a move from Leonard. Leonard with a head of steam, right down Main Street, dunks it with 2 hands. Kawhi aggressive to the rim. On the baseline, he looks, he bounces it. Kawhi baseline, right-handed punch. The claw with the finish and a timeout, Sacramento. Kawhi left wing crosses to the right hand, gets around a Lopez screen, going right, gets back to his left. The long 2 is true. Kawhi Leonard with 20 points for the 30th straight game. Here comes the claw behind the back. He dribbles through a double team. He's got a runway. Lob it up. Jones Jr. jams right block. The claw dissects the defense and puts it on a platter for a DJ jam. Looking for a friend. Turns his back to the basket. One-on-one with Plowden. He spins. Baseline. Fall away 2. Yes, sir. 28 for the claw.
Kawhi Leonard said he'd hold it down till the cavalry arrives, and he did just that with 31 points at Golden One Center to get the Clippers a 114-111 win over the Kings. Here was Kawhi post-game on Amazon Prime with our friend Christina Pick.
Kawhi, a bit of a battle here in the fourth quarter, but you were watching those last few possessions from the sideline. What were you seeing from your guys as they were trying to close this out?
I had confidence in them. We're up about 8 or 9 points. The other team didn't have no timeout, so I thought we was going to win the game.
Your 30th consecutive game scoring 20 or more. How have you been able to be so consistent with all these moving pieces around you?
Just staying aggressive, trying to get wins. That's it. I traded off for more wins.
I know it wasn't the easiest week for this group, all the emotion surrounding the trade deadline. What did you like about the energy and the focus of your team today?
We came out, locked in and ready to play basketball. That's what you got to do. But it's been very emotional around here. We've played great the last, I believe, like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and it just turned around real quick for us.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Kawhi.
Clippers still 18-6 their last 24 games. They'll try to keep things going in a place that has not been too kind to them as of late. Tip-off for Minnesota between the Clippers and Timberwolves is just about 58 minutes away here on this Super Bowl Sunday. Coming up, you're going to hear from assistant coach Dante Jones, and Law Murray of The Athletic will be here. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network as we get set for Carlo Jimenez next. You're listening to Clippers Radio. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. Tip-off just about 57 minutes away here on Clippers Countdown. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Moslin. This is the official pregame show of your LA Clippers. Let's get out to Target Center and get back to your radio voice of the Clippers and Carlo Jimenez. Carlo, how we doing?
Adam, I'm doing great. How are you? How are you feeling? That's what I'm most concerned about.
I'm here. I'm feeling better. I got some extended sleep yesterday.
Wow, there we go. There we go.
Hyperbaric chamber, all those things. I'm feeling much better. Let's go.
See you on a flight to Germany soon.
Get some blood spinning in my knees. Yeah,
there
all
we
that,
go. You'll be
all
good.
that while we're
You'll
at
be
it.
good.
This Clippers team finding ways to win even during a difficult transition time, winning 114-111 on Friday night in Sacramento. Kawhi Leonard said he'd hold it down till Darius Garland came through. Kawhi Leonard came through Friday night doing just that.
He did everything, Adam. I mean, 31 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals for the Claw. I mean, the Clippers have just been, honestly, that he has been able to lift everybody every single time he's on the floor. And for Kawhi Leonard to be now the longest tenured Clipper, kind of retaking over maybe that spot of Ivica Zubac had as the face of what is the Clippers culture, he has been somebody who's been available and he has been effective early and often for this team. Just love to see it. Adam, I thought this was interesting, but looking at the notes and the advanced analytics, guess who's second in the NBA in fast break points? Kawhi. It's a rhetorical question. Kawhi Leonard. But what is Kawhi Leonard's life motto? Slow is pro. This guy has turned it around. He's played a different style of basketball on the offensive end, and it has really helped the Clippers get out in transition, get easy looks. Kawhi Leonard's so efficient. I don't know what his numbers are, points per possession in transition, but I'm sure it is through the roof because he doesn't get a lot of transition opportunities, but when he does, look out below. That guy's looking to dunk it.
Yeah, it was interesting. Friday night, he said how much he likes getting up and down and playing transition basketball, which maybe you wouldn't expect. But we're going to see more of that when Darius Garland arrives here. Somebody else who helped him pull through in that game, you talked about him a lot post-game. You were on with him post-game. Chris Dunn, 9 points in the fourth quarter alone, came through huge down the stretch.
He was big in that game. I mean, now 16 games where he scores 10 or more. He only did that 17 times all of last season. We haven't hit the All-Star break. Chris Dunn, his offense is something that not a lot of people remember him for. But remember, he was the guy drafted 5th overall by the Minnesota Timberwolves for how great of an offensive point guard he was. He knows how to pick his spots, still shooting nearly 36% from the three-point line this season. Impressive to see him be so effective on offense. And yet, exert so much energy on the defensive end, in which he's still top 10 in deflections and top 10 in total steals. Chris Dunn has been a godsend for the Clippers this season. He's the only player to play in every single game, and I expect another big game in a place where, his NBA career started off rocky here in Minnesota. I'm sure Chris gets fired up when he's back at the Target Center.
No doubt. John Collins, obviously a big part of this Clippers turnaround, and the last 3 quarters after getting off to a slow start in Sacramento look like that guy that he's been the last 6 weeks or so.
6 weeks. I mean, 22 games, Adam. 22 games we're talking. He's shooting 56% from 3, 64% from the field. That's video game numbers. He's turned the sliders up on the offensive end. John Collins has been so good for this Clipper team. Ty Lue actually spoke a little bit about how he feels like John Collins has to be kind of that other guy next to Kawhi Leonard. And while they can't play Kawhi and John on the floor as much as they'd want, John's going to have to be the offensive motor when Kawhi goes to the bench. And we saw that against Sacramento. The Clippers struggled offensively. Of course, it was their first game without Ivica Zubac and James Harden, who've been traded away. So how do you find some sort of rhythm on that end? Great to see John Collins continue to thrive offensively. I'd just like to see him shoot more. I mean, with those numbers, get up more than 1-3 a game. Let's see 5 or 6. I'm not mad if John Collins attempts 20 shots this afternoon for the Clippers. That'd be great.
Yeah, come on, JC. No need to protect that shooting percentage from the outside, only taking 1 3-pointer and going 100% from 3 Friday night. Somebody who was 2 of 3 from the outside, Brook Lopez. It seemed like over the last week or so, he's been shooting it better. He was due. And Lopez, 5 of 12, 15 points. He's your starting center now, and he looked more comfortable out there on Friday.
He definitely looked a lot more comfortable, Adam. He is second all time in players that have made 2 threes and had 2 or more blocks in a game to Kevin Durant. That's how versatile this guy is on the offensive end. I mean, he can spread the floor, but he's still a defender. A lot of times you think of Brook Lopez, you think Splash Mountain, you think the threes, but you don't think, oh, by the way, runner-up to Defensive Player of the Year a couple of seasons ago to Jaren Jackson Jr. This is somebody who's an elite rim protector for this Clippers team. You're going to have 2 very good rim protectors here tonight in Rudy Gobert and Brook Lopez. So interested to see how the offense of somebody like Brook. You would think, Adam, in a matchup like this one, we'll get into later, but against Minnesota, Lopez might be the perfect big against Rudy Gobert because he can play him on the inside, but also he's going to force him to come out to the three-point line and really open up the interior of that Minnesota defense.
The Clippers won a series against the Utah Jazz back in the day in 2021 because of that optionality with pulling him out to the perimeter. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. Tip-off just about 53 minutes away. Carlo Jimenez is on the call. Coming up, he's got his one-on-one conversation with assistant coach in Dante Jones. This is Clippers Countdown right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. Tip-off just about 49 minutes away here on Clippers Countdown. I'm Adam Oslin. Coming up in just a little bit, we'll have La Murray on from The Athletic. But first, we're heading back over to Carlo Jimenez.
Thanks so much, Adam, here with assistant coach Dante Jones for the Clippers take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Coach, Kawhi's not known for playing fast, but he's second in the league in fast break points per game. What do you think's led to an increase of taking advantage of those attempts in transition?
Well, he's super efficient in the open court and his game overall. Kawhi has been trying to dominate every possession he can on the floor, even through minutes restrictions or what have you. But Kawhi is just going out there trying to win us games and trying to be dominant and lead us in any way possible.
This team attempted 36 free throws in their last game, and the numbers will tell you the more free throws you attempt, the better chance you have of winning a game, especially since December 20th. Why is that the case for this group?
Well, it's a mix between paint attacks and being aggressive. If we can attack the paint and get shots for our teammates, that means that we bring the defense to converge on us. And Kawhi is so dominant. He draws a lot of fouls. He makes opportunities for his other teammates. But getting to the free throw line and drawing contact has been a strength of ours so far. And if we can keep doing that, we can have an opportunity to win.
Last one for you, but obviously there's a lot of new guys and new positions and even guys that have been with the team now playing new positions. How do you let that happen naturally versus try to guide the team into playing a certain way?
It's a next man up mentality. Like, guys have to be preparing for anything coming, and our guys have been. They've always prepared at a high level. They've always looked to whatever role they can play that they can jump on in. So our young guys are coming in, bringing energy, trying to provide scoring, trying to to be available defensively and know what they're doing to be able to help us on that end of the floor. Then everybody just trying to just chip in and try to help get us win.
Thank you so much. Best of luck.
Appreciate you.
Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. There was Carlo Jimenez pregame with assistant coach Dante Jones. Up next, we'll go back in time in Clippers Rewind. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. Tip-off is just about 44 minutes away. I'm Adam Osland. It is Clippers Countdown, the official pregame show of your LA Clippers. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to have Law Murray on from The Athletic. But first, we're going back in time in Clippers Rewind. We're going back to November 11th of 2013. We're talking almost 13 years ago. The movie Dallas Buyers Club was in theaters, where Matthew McConaughey and Jared Leto won Academy Awards for Best Actor and Best Supporting Actor. On the radio, the song Royals by Lorde was just taken off, and the Clippers were taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves, and there was a battle between two of the best power forwards in the game.
Griffin has it against Love to the left hand. Love steps back. Bingo. Love got it. Oh, that's a nice little move by Kevin Love. Love and Griffin both have 7. Beautiful move.
Well, I think Blake has sensed what I'm seeing. That not only is he physically more gifted than Love, but he's got more energy tonight. You can just feel it.
Ball to Griffin. Wow, and curl it in.
Yeah, it was an epic back and forth between the two big men. Kevin Love finished with 21, 19, and 7 assists. Blake Griffin had 25, 10, and 5 assists. And the Clippers came through with a 109-107 victory over the Timberwolves back in November of 2013. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the T-Wolves. They're 1-5 their last 6 games in Minnesota. That has to change. Coming up next, we'll get to your player to watch. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. Welcome back into Clippers Countdown. I'm Adam Moslin. Coming up, we got La Murray from The Athletic. But first,
this is LA Clippers basketball.
Watching this guy play right now is really something.
Players to watch.
talked about him earlier, but Brook Lopez, my player to watch. Why? Because he can extend the floor and bring Rudy Gobert away from the basket with his three-point shooting. If he's knocking them down, went 2 of 3 Friday night from distance, 5 of 12 overall, had 15 points in 36 minutes, most minutes he's played in the game so far this season for the Clippers. But remember, Brook was starting almost 80 games last year when he was healthy for the Milwaukee Bucks and playing over 30 minutes per game, averaging that. So he's comfortable, even in his late 30s now, still playing heavy minutes and being a stretch big out there. Clippers will need him to be that against Rudy Gobert and the Minnesota Timberwolves if they want to pick up some advantages in driving lanes to the basket. If they can bring Rudy Gobert away from the rim. Brook Lopez, that'll be his job in this one. Knock him down from the outside. Tip-off just about 40 minutes away. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. Up next, your injury report, and then La Murray. I'm Adam Moslin, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. Tip-off is just about 38 minutes away here on Clippers Countdown. I'm Adam Moslin. Coming up, we got La Murray, the great La Murray of The Athletic. But first, your injury report. Still out for the Clippers in this one. No Darius Garland, no Isaiah Jackson, no Benedict Mathurin. Expecting to see Benedict Mathurin and Isaiah Jackson Tuesday when the Clippers start the front end of a road back-to-back in Houston. As for the Minnesota Timberwolves, they will be without Terrence Shannon Jr. He has a left foot injury. Outside of that, pretty much available in this one. Clippers taking on the T-Wolves in a place that has been a house of horrors for them as they are 1-5 the last 6 games in Minnesota. Coming up next, we'll talk to La Murray about the big trade deadline acquisitions by the Clippers. I'm Adam Moslin as we get set here on Clippers Countdown on a Super Bowl Sunday on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers early start in Minnesota. Tip off just about 33 minutes away here on Clippers Countdown. I'm Adam Moslin. Welcome back in. Coming up, you're driving around the league. But first, we get out to Law Murray from The Athletic. At Law Murray, the NU is where you find him. Law, thanks for doing this again here on Clippers Countdown.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
Law, let's go back and talk about some of these moves. I know you came on Clippers Talk with me the day of. And we talked about Ivica Zubac being moved out, and we've talked about Darius Garland a little bit. So let's go in chronological order here. But Darius Garland's still out. We don't know when he's expected to be back. Just lay out kind of the change of pace he will be as a point guard versus what they were getting from James Harden.
Yeah, I mean, Darius Garland is a much smaller player than James, much younger player, much faster player. He's a guy who I actually wonder if he's going to get more opportunities to go ISO in LA than he had in Cleveland. It just makes sense. Like, Darius is a good isolation basketball player. He's always had to share the backcourt with a high-scoring small guard, whether that was Colin Sexton or the player that Colin Sexton was traded to Utah for, and Donovan Mitchell, who is still there. And obviously you see Donovan Mitchell as an all-NBA player. So I just feel like that's a part of his game. I'm interested to see where that goes. On the other side, you got a player in Darius who he was the number one. He was the point guard for the number one offense in the NBA overall, and a player who, in his own right, is an outstanding pick and roll operator. So things weren't great this year for Darius. He did not begin the season because of the toe injury that messed up his playoffs a year ago. And obviously he's out with a different injury to a different toe this time. But you're going to get a player who I think the Clippers they're going to play with a faster pace. The touches are going to look different. And I feel like shots are probably going to go up earlier in the shot clock for the Clippers as well.
Any idea of when he could return? Are we looking post All-Star break, most likely, Law?
Yeah, it sounds like post All-Star break. Everyone's been signifying that they're going to take their time with Darius, but it sounds like Darius is close. I think when it comes to certain guys, it's like you can rush them back, or you can just say, "Hey, get yourself fully back," so that when you come back, we're not worried about this anymore. You know, you're not thinking about, oh, you came back too early. You know, Darius needs the time anyway. He's got to get acclimated to LA. He's got to get acclimated to his teammates, to this scheme, understand what they want to do, get some practices in. Clippers are not in a position to be practicing right now. They're not only on the road, but they're about to play a lot of these games. You know, they just played Friday night in Sacramento. They are playing an early game in Minnesota. That's going to feel like a back-to-back with the time zone change and just those logistics. They're going to go to Houston, and they're going to play a back-to-back there with the Houston Rockets. And by the time that's over, you're going to have another week, you know, get a vacation, get away, come back, be ready to work, because right after All-Star break, they've got a back-to-back as well. And so not just him, obviously Benedict Mathurin and Isaiah Jackson, those guys can get acclimated as well, but those guys aren't dealing with an injury like Garland is.
All right, let's talk about then the second trade. Ivica Zubac going to Indiana. Benedict Mathurin brought in. Isaiah Jackson brought in a couple of first-round picks, one that will have us all watching the draft lottery very closely for this Clippers team. Ivica Zubac was one of those guys, and we've talked about it a little bit, Law, but it just seemed like he was extremely gracious with his time and would give you full, complete answers post-game. You just talk about, you know, a little bit of the character that he had with the Clippers and who he is as a person a little bit, because you know what? I got to say, he's the first guy since I was a kid that I got a little bit emotional about him leaving this team. Like, it seemed like it really affected people.
Yeah. I wrote this already. He grew up in LA, and he certainly grew up as a Clipper. You know, I mean, he was obviously drafted by the Lakers and started his career there. And then the Lakers did the Clippers a solid, just donating him across the hall back in 2019. Like, look at that season. Look at who he was playing with. Like, if this is Zubats is the last link to Shea Alexander, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they were teammates here. And so, like, he's the last link of that team, even though Zoo didn't have a whole lot to do with it himself. But one of the best games in Clippers franchise history was Game 2 in Golden State. And again, Zoo only played I don't even think Zoo played 10 minutes, but he started that game where the Clippers came back from down 30, more than 30 points. Like, he preceded the Kawhi Leonard era, the Paul George 2-on-3 era. And I mean, he just looks completely different. He sounds completely different. Back then, he sounded Croatian. Now he sounds like a dude who has been in LA all this time. So I'm really happy for him. Like, it's bittersweet, but at the same time, I was watching that game and him not being out Wednesday for personal. I refused to put online that Zoo's out just for. I was just like, look, they did this to me once already this week. I'm not doing it again. Like, it unless you're committed to this dude forever. And I mean, I guess that's cool and rare in sports, but that's also not best for business. You need to trade him. You need to sell high. You need to act like James Harden and Victor Zubats is a package deal, and that's what it was. So I'm looking forward to Zoo coming back. The Pacers have not played any of the Los Angeles teams yet this season. That'll be a cool moment. I hope he plays because obviously the Pacers don't really have much of an incentive to play him the rest of the season.
La Murray of The Athletic is our guest here as we get set for the Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. So the return in that trade, La, how much do you value Benedict Mathurin? I was extremely high on him coming out of Arizona. There was even some talk of the comp was he's kind of Kawhi Leonard light, maybe people were saying back then. And while his career maybe hasn't reached, obviously, those highs, like he played in NBA Finals, he had multiple 20-point games last year for the Indiana Pacers. Who can he be if he fulfills his complete potential in this league?
Man, I'm not really big on player comps like that. Benedict Mathurin needs to be the best version of Benedict Mathurin. And we've seen some of it. I mean, the dude can score the basketball. He's not a bad shooter at all. He's clearly more comfortable on the ball. And the thing with him is his biggest weakness as an offensive player is that he's not much of a passer. You know, he's definitely trying to get buckets out here. His year in Arizona suggested he improved so much at Arizona. And that's the thing. I've heard so much about how much Benedict Mathurin wants to be good. He's going to compete. And that competition is with himself as well. So he's a guy who's going to get to the free throw line at a high rate. He is a player that you want to see him just involve himself more on the defensive end. Even in college, that wasn't really a strength of his. So offensively, you want to feel good about him. He just hasn't developed as a on-ball decision maker, and you kind of need that if you're going to be a player who is featured offensively. You know, it can't just be straight line bucket, shot going up. You know, like in today's NBA, all the stars have to be able to not only get theirs and get theirs in a variety of ways, but to be able to absorb double teams and read the game and be able to make their teammates better. Benedict has not always shown the ability to do that, and that's going to be the switch. Can the Clippers kind of tap into that and help him with that particular ability? But I think it's a great swing for the Clippers. You need talent, and he's a guy who complements the Clippers in that you traded one of the best free throw merchants ever in James Harden. Darius Garland is not going to be a guy that gets in the line at a high rate due to his size, due to his just what he does well. That's not one of the things he does well. But Benedict Mathurin, that's his best skill, is getting to the line at a high rate. Like, Benedict Mathurin has 4 games this season where he's attempted double-digit free throws. The Clippers need that. They're going to need guys who can help take advantage of teams fouling and being overly aggressive on the Clippers, a team that lacks ball handling. So there's a lot to see whether Benedict can, fit in with what Tyronn Lue is going to be coaching up. And they have a big decision to make with him as well as several other players this offseason.
Law, do you anticipate him in the starting backcourt at some point with Darius Garland, or you still think it's going to be Chris Dunn or somebody else?
Well, shoot, Chris Dunn's not starting now. And that is interesting to me. Derrick Jones Jr. is going to start today in Minnesota. He started Friday in Sacramento. Yeah. And I really wonder, because you look at the rest of that lineup, John's going to start, Brook is going to start, Kawhi is going to be Kawhi, and Darius is eventually going to take the starting position from, Chris is starting, but the fact that Chris and Derek are starting together, I just wonder how that's going to go. Like, they were starting Kobe Sanders for the longest time. And, when Tyronn Lue makes certain starting lineup changes, it's not random, So I wonder if they're going to actually go ahead and just start Darius and Derek together and bring Chris Dunn off the bench as a backup point guard, if you will. Bogdan Bogdanovic, he didn't play Friday night. I wonder if things change, but Delano Banson's on the team on a 10-day, and I don't think Banson's the kind of guy that's going to, like Delano Banson is on this team because he's been killing in the G League, I think they're going to play him and see what they've gotten him. I wonder what that means for Bogey, but I think that Benedict Mathurin is probably, that he can be a bucket off the bench. And so I wonder if they just wind up, they care about their point of attack defense. Chris and Derek, I said it last year. One of those guys has started every single game since the 2024-25 season started. Like, you can check me on that, but that's how it feels. So it feels like Benedict is going to come off the bench.
I ain't checking you, Law. I believe you. What about Isaiah Jackson? Feels like an underrated pickup, maybe somebody I guess Lawrence Frank has been interested in for a while. We know he had the Achilles injury. He hasn't quite looked the same. How do you anticipate him being used?
Man, that Achilles injury it reminded me of Brandon Clark. Because Brandon Clark tore his Achilles a couple years ago. And undersized bigs who are energy bigs, who don't have the most skill offensively, I mean, that's a terrible injury to have. And so that's what Isaiah Jackson is trying to get over. I just feel like, I know the Clippers were interested in him in the 2021 draft. He went 22nd. The Clippers wound up with Keon Johnson, who they traded up to get. You're always going to see in the history of the NBA that Keon was a New York Knicks pick, but that's how these things work. The Clippers went from 25 to 21, and they wound up with Keon. So I just, Isaiah is a player who's an energy guy. He's a different kind of center than Yannick Cody Niederhauser, certainly than Brook Lopez. Isaiah could probably play some 4 next to Brook. I don't think that's a lineup you want to see next to Giannis because of the lack of shooting in today's game. Again, Yannick might get to that 3-pointer at some point. He doesn't have it now. And so I could see Isaiah and Brook playing some minutes together. I think that could be a change of pace when it doesn't make sense to play Nico Batum some nights or in certain lineups. They needed someone who could grab a damn rebound. The Clippers are a terrible rebounding team, and they downgraded in that department going from Harden to Garland. Benedict hasn't been great in that area. And you just traded one of the best rebounders in basketball into Vince Zubac. Like, I think nominally he's the third string center, but I think Isaiah's size and mobility comparable to the other centers gives him a chance to fit in some lineups next to John Collins or next to a Brook Lopez.
Lastly, Law, how do you see things going long-term with Kawhi, since some of the hot take artists that also pose as journalists are already wondering, is he going to leave this summer? Is now Kawhi leaving now? What's going to happen with him?
Man, you asking about Kawhi?
Only because so many others have already brought it up. And he did mention, like, he's talking about training camp Friday night. He mentioned training camp and how they want to get everybody together for that. So it made me think, I think he's planning on being here.
I mean, of course, Kawhi's planning on being here, but it's also like there's a lot more that has to happen and a lot of things that could happen that people aren't anticipating, and maybe some things that people are anticipating that need to be accounted for. This rest of this regular season is relevant. What happens in the playoffs or the play-in tournament is relevant. The relationship management is going to be relevant here. Like how those guys click. It's not just wins and losses, but process. There's a lot of moving parts. I think we just have to be real about some things. In 2024, the Clippers started the process of moving from one era to another era. And Kawhi Leonard signed his contract before all those dudes did, before Paul George, before Russell Westbrook, before James Harden. Yeah. Well, Kawhi signed the first contract, and he's the last one standing. The only other guy on the team that was on the roster in the 2024 playoffs besides Kawhi is Jordan Miller, a guy who might sign a contract any day now, or any week now, but also a guy that got waived last offseason. So, I mean, Kawhi is a guy who you have to look at as a potential trade target for teams. He's going to have 1 year left on his deal if he's not extended. So anything could happen with Kawhi. He could be here for another contract. He could have his contract voided by the NBA, or he could be a trade candidate. Like, there's so much going on, and I think that especially once you saw that James Harden and Vincent Zubac got traded, your second and third best player, your other future Hall of Famer, as well as the longest tenured player in your team, and a guy that you were hoping was going to be an All-Star or an All-NBA selection this year, all bets are off with the LA Clippers. Like, they had blown their team up as far as I'm concerned over the last year and a half. And Kawhi Leonard is the last guy that you're looking at now.
Will Smith in the final episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air just standing there in the empty living room where so much life took place. That's Kawhi Leonard now. Okay, I lied. Last one, and maybe this is the OD on Dayquil that's killing me right here. But who you got in the big game today?
Seattle Seahawks by 2 scores. I don't know how those 2 scores will go, but some of y'all know I used to be an NFL researcher, NFL Network researcher. So I actually remember the Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl back from the 2014 season. I'm very much looking forward to this game. I'm happy it's these 2 teams in it, but I do have the Seahawks winning.
I'm with you, my friend. Appreciate all the analysis, intel, and information as always. Nobody does it better. Law Murray, the NU is where you find him. Does it for The Athletic. Law, thanks so much for doing this today here on Clippers Countdown.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Enjoy the games.
Coming up next, we'll get your drive around the league. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. Tip-off just about 13 minutes away. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. Tip-off 11 minutes away here on Clippers Countdown. Still to come. Back to Carlo Jimenez from Target Center. But first, your drive around the league is brought to you by Toyota. It's the Here and Now sales event at your Toyota dealer. The clock is ticking. Don't wait to grab a great deal on a new Toyota. We make it easy. Elsewhere in the association, just 4 games today before the big game. Right now, second quarter, Wizards trailing 55-39 at home to the Miami Heat with 7:47 left in the second. And it looks like the Knicks are about to improve to 34-19 as they lead by 15 with 6 minutes left. Now make it 17 in the fourth quarter in Boston. Knicks 97, Celtics 80. Jalen Brunson with 21 points. Jaylen Brown with 26. But Knicks up by 17 with 5:50 left in the fourth quarter. Coming up, back to Carlo Jimenez. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. Tip-off is about 8 minutes away here on Clippers Countdown. Welcome back. I'm Adam Osland. Coming up, your keys to victory, but first, back out to Target Center and back to your radio voice of the Clippers and Carlo Jimenez. All right, Carlo, the state of the Timberwolves after losing a game to the Pelicans the other night. Where's this team at?
You know, Adam, it's an interesting group because so much in the past, they've been so identifying with their defense, right? This has been a team that's been a top 5 defense. They're still 6th in the NBA or 10th in the NBA in defense. So they're still a top 10 defense. But Adam, really, it's been an offensive team so far this season. They're averaging 119 points a game. It's the most through the first 50 games in franchise history. They've got 2 guys in the top 10 in three-point percentage, one of just 2 teams in the NBA with 2 guys in the top 10 in three-point percentage. And they've been able to knock down shots at an elite rate. 4th in the NBA in three-point percentage, Adam. They are 3rd in points per game. They're 6th in offensive rating. They're one of just 5 teams top 10 in both offensive and defensive rating. But they had a heart-to-heart after their last game, that loss against New Orleans. I don't know if you saw the headlines, but Rudy Gobert kind of spoke in the media, called everybody out. He said, we don't have any accountability. Guys are getting back defensively. We need to play better. And he even said, if guys aren't playing hard, maybe the coaches should bench them. Now, Chris Finch did talk yesterday in the media and said he wishes that Rudy didn't go public with those things, didn't feel like that's true and that they feel like they do have a lot of accountability in the organization. But this is a group that feels like they can win a championship. There's no doubt about it. They've been to the Western Conference back-to-back years. They've lost 4-1 back-to-back years. They feel like they're just a piece away. Obviously, there was the Giannis talks, but they go ahead and get Ayo Dosunmu, who's having the best year of his NBA career in a contract season. And will be interesting to see how Dosunmu kind of integrates into the rest of this lineup. He's available today for Minnesota, Adam. But this is a group that has had a firepower offense and is trying to get back to that elite level defense.
I think that's one of the best moves of the trade deadline. The Clippers will no doubt get their attention tonight after losing to the Pelicans. This Minnesota team will be ready. Clippers, though, have remained focused through the trade deadline. It was an emotional one for them. I was very impressed with their performance against the Kings, pulling away in that fourth quarter, playing their best when their best was required. But it's going to be difficult in the house of horrors for them. It's been in Minnesota, 1-5 their last 6 games there. Carlo, my player to watch, Brook Lopez, because like we talked about earlier, trying to stretch out the defense of the Minnesota Timberwolves. He can help in that area. Who's your player to watch?
That's a great pick, Adam. Brook Lopez has to be excellent. I'm going to have to go John Collins. John Collins needs to be Robin the rest of the season to Kawhi Leonard's Batman. He's got to be at that elite level if the Clippers want to win some games here down the stretch. So I think John Collins has got to attempt more shots. He's got to get downhill. He's been shooting the lights out of the ball. He should have a big game in this one for the Clippers. By the way, Adam, I know you talked to Law earlier. Delano Banton available today. I don't think they make him available if they don't think they're going to play him. It'll be interesting to see how he plays. One of the best nicknames in the NBA, DB Hooper. Excited to see him go to work.
DB Hooper's great. Carlo Jimenez on the call, jumping out of the airplane with a parachute for tip-off in just about 5 minutes from now. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. Coming up next, your keys to victory right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. Tip-off just moments away. Let's get to your keys to victory. The Clippers cannot start off as slow as they did in Sacramento on Friday night and hope to survive against a hungry Wolves team after they lost to the Pelicans the other night. Clippers have to take care of the basketball. They did not. They got down by 10 early in Sacramento Friday. Were able to recover. They have to be on point, focused, and making crisp passes and making the extra pass out there right now because they don't have as much offensive firepower, of course, until the cavalry arrives with some of the moves they made at the trade deadline. All right, here we go. It's Carlo Jimenez on the call from Target Center. Clippers and T-Wolves is next right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.